It used to be if you had a bad tooth, that was bad. You had a problem. Now you go see the dentist most of the time in many countries around the world. It's a small thing, but it's important. Penicillin. Books. Women are treated with more respect. On average, today, even though we have a long way to go. People with sexual differences are treated with more respect. And even violence, because today we see terrorism and it's painful. And we're shocked and horrified by what happens, and yet, if you look even in the 20th century, much less if you go back to the days of the conquistadores or Genghis Khan or slavery, but even just in the 20th century. The world is far less violent today, on average, than it was 25, 50, 100 years ago. So all of that makes me hopeful. But as I said, it's not inevitable. And I think one of the things that's important for bringing about further progress is that we listen to each other and we understand our differences. I don't think it's necessary for us to all speak one language, or all have the same foods. Or all have the same customs. But I do believe that there are some universal principles that are important. I believe that the most important principle is a very simple one that is at the heart of most of the world's great religions. Which is treat somebody the same way you'd want to be treated. And if you start with that basic premise, then we will continue to make progress. But I also think that in order for us to make progress, We have to have that fellow feeling, and we have to combine that with the use of our brains and reason, and our intellect. And what's interesting now, everybody here has a phone, everybody is looking all the time. And in some ways, that's actually isolating people sometimes more than it's bringing people together. And what I also notice is, because there's so much information coming in, that sometimes people just surf the surface of information as opposed to analysis and understanding and study. In America, sometimes in our politics you see sound bites, what we call sound bites. I don't know the translation. But it's just the Twitter line without trying to figure out, okay. Is this true or not? What are the facts? And when it comes to an issue like climate change, we have to have a maturity to say, okay, here's what the science tells us: the planet is getting warmer, and even though it's not happening right now, and it's a beautiful day outside in Buenos Aires. We have to start working now, so that 20, 30, 50, 100 years from now we still have a beautiful planet to live on. That requires not just a strong heart, but also using our heads. And if we do those two things, then I feel confident that we'll make progress. We'll still have problems, but that's what makes life interesting, is having a few problems. I'm going to alternate between men and women, so that we make it fair. This young lady right there, since she's standing right in the front. Question: I'm going to have a heart attack, Mr. President. President Obama, oh, don't have a heart attack. That would be bad. Question, I'm a university professor. I teach American political communications. I have no answers, but I don't want to feel worse for my students. And I want to say that you are my hero, yes. President Obama, well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Since you didn't have a question, I'll call on that young lady in the front. As well, just so that way I get a question. But that was very nice. Thank you. Question, thank you. Mr. President, I'm a research scientist. I'm very proud to have you here in my country, really. And I'm thankful, too, because I was educated in your country during my postdoc in teaching research. So my question is related with that, with science, principally. Because I feel like always art and science was like the fields where the human being have not limits. And I was wondering if you are not fine, if you are not really just doing more than collaboration. Between our countries, and this is the most important thing in this area, why not to do a stronger? Collaboration between your country and mine, like this idea between others that perhaps other people have? But I was organizing with a Professor David Kaplan in the United States. Who was my mentor there, to have a representation here in Argentina from their laboratory of research. I know that there are a lot of programs of collaboration, like Georgetown, to be done like I did. But I feel like stronger collaboration in this field must be another kind of thing, not only to have knowledge. But to put in real, like, for example, technologic transfer. But I feel like science, basic science is very, very important. When I've been there like a researcher, I feel like we can do more. So I want to know about that. President Obama, good. Well, President Macri and I spoke about this in our meeting. I think the possibilities of collaboration between Argentina and the United States in scientific fields as well as the cultural fields, there's a huge opportunity there. We can do much more than we've done so far. And you're right that it's not enough just to have student exchanges. There's work that also has to be done together. And the more minds we have that work on it, the sooner we'll be able to solve problems. I'll give you one specific example, and that is when it comes to diseases and medicine. Everybody here is familiar with the emerging problem of Zika throughout the Americas. It turns out the Zika is not a complicated virus. And I'm actually quite optimistic that we'll be able to find a diagnostic tool and a vaccine for Zika. But the reason in the past that it hasn't been developed was because it was predominantly in small poorer countries in isolated areas. There wasn't a lot of money to be made selling drugs to solve this small problem. And so it didn't get any attention. Except now we live in this world where everybody travels, where everybody is mobile. And so there's no such thing as a disease that's just isolated in one place. Because if we don't cure that disease, if we don't identify it early enough, it will sweep the world. And oftentimes it will sweep very rapidly because there's no immunity and people aren't accustomed to it. And that's true. We saw what happened with Ebola. Now we're seeing it with Zika. And obviously the thing I'm most concerned about is if we end up seeing a flu, an airborne disease. Because we know that in the past, in 1918, with the Spanish flu, millions of people around the world died. It can go very fast. So this is an example where our goal is to work with the Brazilians, with the Cubans, with the Argentinians. With everyone, so that we are pooling our resources, solving the problem quickly, getting clinical trials done quickly. Finding ways that are culturally appropriate to make sure that people get the medicines they need quickly. And if we use the old model where each country is doing its own thing and working with its own companies. And not worrying about what's happening elsewhere, we're not going to solve it. So I think the opportunities for collaboration are there. They are strong. We're going to be developing over the next several months. I hope, a plan for the kind of collaboration that you described. Now, it won't all change overnight, but we do think that we can make progress in this area. And this is the kind of thing that not only solves problems but it also breeds understanding. It makes people simpatico right in a way that reduces the possibilities of conflict over time. So it's an excellent question. Thank you. All right. It's a gentleman's turn. Let's see, this gentleman right here in the sweater. Question, hi. And welcome to Argentina, Mr. President. And first of all, I would like to say thank you for having us here. It's a pleasure and an honor. And thank you, and thanks. Argentina is a truly proud member of the gay community for fighting for our rights as humans, as we all are. My question is, given the fact that, right in the world, most of the main causes of death such as heart disease or chronic lower respiratory disease, diabetes, or even clandestine abortion in Argentina. Can be prevented with proper health education, climate change policies, and of course medical research. So which ones do you think are, in these 7 years now as President of the United States? Your greatest achievements in terms of those issues? President Obama, well, first of all, I had to start in the United States. Because we were the only advanced nation on Earth that didn't have a universal health care program. And so we had millions of people who did not have health care. So I had, as some of you know, a very big fight to establish a system that's not. Ideal because we had to modify it and adapt it to the existing system that we already had. but that has now provided 20 million people with health care that didn't have it before.